to bring you different other stories. But on the political front, opposition NDC wraps up vetting of parliamentary aspirants ahead of the party's primaries. We'll be touching base with our correspondents to know how it's ending around the country. And also coming up, high-powered delegation from Immigration Service heads to troubled Bawku, where 3 officers were attacked last Sunday, leading to the death of 1. We'll update you on what's going on so far. And later in business, stocks rally on the back of news of dividend payment, pushing the overall market performance a bit higher. And on the foreign front, political parties in Liberia signed peace accord to prevent violence ahead of October presidential and legislative elections. Thank you for staying with us. Let's settle for the details of our stories now. And we're also streaming live on our Facebook page and also on DSTV channel 279. A delegation from the Ghana Immigration Service is headed to Bawku in the Upper East region, where 3 officers were attacked last Sunday. 1 of the personnel was killed and 2 others are battling for their lives at the hospital. The latest incident has heightened calls for a massive crackdown on crime in and around the Bawku enclave. Meanwhile, Bawku Central Member of Parliament Mahama Ayariga has condemned the shooting, injuring and killing of some members of the security agencies in Bawku on Monday, the 3rd of April 2023. He described the action as most reprehensible and should not be repeated. An investigation into the matter must be conducted and the perpetrators brought to book. Those are the words of Mahama Ayariga, MP for Bawku Central, who has also added his voice to the many concerns being raised about the security situation in and around Bawku. And also, beyond what we know about the immigration hierarchy headed towards Bawku, it's not just them, but then even members of parliament, you'd recall a few weeks ago, also decided the select committee on interior decided to go there to evaluate for themselves what exactly is the problem in Bawku, but they were unable to get to the final destination because they had picked intelligence that it wasn't too safe. Let's engage the thoughts of security expert Dr. Adam Bona, who has consistently been calling for a national dialogue on how to resolve these concerns about Bawku. He's joined us via Zoom for a conversation. Doc, a very good afternoon to you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Good afternoon, and thank you for having me.
Right. It looks as though, in as much as the development in Bawku is centered in and around that place, state institutions, state authorities who want to even go there are having a challenge. So the latest is the hierarchy of the Ghana Immigration Service following the attack on their personnel. And because Bawku is a border town, you definitely will need immigration officers there. With this complexity, with us, what would be your best advice in how we approach, especially if top government officials want to go to that particular place you have described as a war zone?
Well, I think that Bawku needs a multifaceted approach. Bawku needs to get the involvement of the president himself. The president should pay attention to Bawku. I think the needed attention has not been paid directly by the president when it comes to Bawku and, the war that is raging in Bawku. I call it war because under no circumstances should any part of this country should be a no-go area to or for any citizen or visitors alike who would want to go there. I am aware that I think somewhere yesterday or so, the Peace Council, the members of the Peace Council, the board or so, met the president, and one of the agenda had to do with Bawku. As to what they discussed, I will not want to go into it. I know that today the president and his cabinet are having a cabinet meeting. Bawku obviously is on the agenda. And so this is the intel I picked. But upon the meetings, these meetings, I don't really know what inroads we have been able to make when it comes to Bawku. And so the conversation, it's likely to go on until such a time that we stop confronting Bawku with the all-out security approach. The all-out security approach, military or police, military and security intervention shouldn't be the only solution. I have said it recently at the Global Governance Dialogue, of which I was a panelist. This was reiterated that let's look at other angles of dealing with the conflict in Bawku, or the carnage, what is happening in Bawku.
And on the back of that, I'm sure you would also agree that it's supposed to be the citizens also have a role to play in as much as the state is trying to put in efforts to resolve the conflict or the situation there. The citizens have been watching and listening and following you, and I'm sure they reach out to you every now and then. What is it that they have agreed that they can do?
You see, those who reach out to you, some of them themselves are those sometimes being part of it, in fueling the conflict. You go on social media and you see on social media, a lot of disturbing things going on there, voice notes they share around themselves that they are going to start attacking people who are visiting Bawku, vehicles that are entering Bawku. And these are notable people. These are people who are known, either living amongst us in Accra, living amongst us in Kumasi, or living in Bawku itself. And they have not been arrested. And so mine is that it is incumbent on us to ensure that the laws of this country work. But like you asked, what are the citizens doing? I have asked them that we are all increasingly becoming tired of Bawku. Some of us, you are sleeping at dawn and you receive calls, sometimes midnight. Calls start, once you begin to see a certain types of calls coming in, you pick it, you know that there is all out war. There is, artillery, gunpowder, gunfire in Bawku, and they will tell you to listen. And you ask yourself, why are you doing this to yourselves? But like I said, I think the onus is on the president. He's a first gentleman. He's the commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces. If he puts his foot down and says that this Bawku conflict should stop in the next 1 month or 2-3 months, I'm telling you that it will stop. But until that happens, we are going to be going around in circles.
I appreciate your confidence about the fact that if the commander-in-chief or the president decides that we need to fix this, we can fix it. But on the back of that, there is a concern. Do we know, probably through intelligence, which people are fueling this Bawku issue, where they get their ammo and the equipment they use for the fighting? Who is resourcing them? Because naturally, these are relatively poor people, for lack of a better expression, and feeding could even be a challenge, but someone is giving them the arms to keep fighting. Do we know the sources, and can we probably also consider fixing or dealing with where they are being resourced from?
Yes, we have an idea. I tell you what, last year when I joined, the security couples to visit Bawku last year, we met with both the Kusasis and the Mamprosis. We came back to Accra. Some of us in the company of some of our, agencies, heads or, some notable persons in security. Actually, there were conversations with some of the warlords. So nobody, I am telling you on authority, that those who are fueling the conflict in Bawku, this war, I call it war in Bawku, are known people in our society, very respectable people in our society. Our leaders know them. What is now lacking, and I'm saying that on authority, that they know them. I know some of them. They know them. And so no one can tell me that we do not know at a certain level. We don't know the warlords, those who are fueling the conflict in Bawku. They know them. We know them. What is lacking is a political will to go after them. That is what is lacking. The evidence is there. And so mine is that until such a time that the evidence is used in arresting these people and showing that political willingness to prosecute those involved, there is nothing we can do about Bawku. And it will get worse. And the spillover is likely to throw this country into chaos. Just watch. If we don't do anything about Boko, this Boko conflict will spread quickly into other parts of this country as quickly as possible. You watch.
Doc, we thank you so much for your thoughts and analysis as always. Dr. Adam Bona is a security consultant and analyst. So, I mean, the conversation has been with Boko or about Boko and how we as a nation need to put all efforts needed to bring some relative calm, sustainable calm into the Boko enclave. Earlier today on New Day, our morning program, the Member of Parliament for the Ningo Pram constituency, Sam George, made some allegations. Well, it was an opinion he shared that it looks as though our men in uniform, he was being specifically the military men, are cowards in that they are unable to even give protection to the Parliamentary Select Committee on Interior, who decided to go to Boko to ascertain for themselves what the real situation on the ground was. Now, that committee in Parliament rescinded their decision halfway through their journey to Boko because they picked intelligence that it wasn't safe for them to get there. Let's find out what the Ghana Army actually thinks about it and the accusation leveled against them. Naval Captain Michael Adolabi is Director of Public Affairs, Public Relations of the Ghana Armed Forces. Good afternoon, sir, and thank you for your time.
Good afternoon, Martin.
To start with, I'm sure you followed the conversation, but before that, what's your initial idea or thoughts on the fact that Boko, as it stands now, is becoming a hotspot and a very unstable situation when it comes to the peace and security of the country?
Well, we wouldn't go into details in respect of talking about the conflict in general because the Security Council and the National Security Apparatus handling those information in respect of the general situation in Boko. My intervention is in respect to what was said in the morning, which we need to clarify that it is not true that the military wasn't there to provide the necessary escort or the protection for the committee. As you go to any conflict-prone area, the first thing you get is a security brief on the situation on the ground, and that was given to the committee in Tamale. So the decision for the committee not to proceed to Boko was not because the military wasn't there to provide them the necessary security. They were deployed, they were ready, and I believe the Boko Municipal Security Council and the Upper East Regional Security Council had all given indications that they were prepared to receive the committee, but the trip was cancelled at the last minute. So it is not the situation that the military wasn't in a position to provide them the necessary security and escort to Boko. They were ready for that.
Right. Oh, so I mean, should it be my understanding then that you were there, like you're saying, prepared, you were with the committee ready to give them the escort, but changed because they changed their mind, that's how they didn't get to the final destination? Is that it?
Yes, that's it.
Okay, but I mean, if we have the Ghana Armed Forces, this is the Ghana Armed Forces. If you are going with a committee from Parliament to a place like this, it shouldn't be much of a difficulty, irrespective of whatever intelligence they may have been given. You could still have provided enough security, couldn't you?
That is what I explained to you, that we had provided them the security, the necessary arrangements had been put in place. When you go to the point and you are given a security brief of what is on the ground, and they decided not to proceed further, it is not because the armed forces deterred them from doing so. The security measures and everything for their protection and escort had been put in place. And as I told you, the Boko Municipal Security Council even indicated that they were also ready to receive them. The Upper East Regional Security Council were supposed to receive them as well. And if you had monitored the media reports on the 13th of March, you would realize that all these reports have indicated that the necessary arrangements had been put in place, but it is the committee that decided to call off the trip to Boko. So it is not because the armed forces was not ready or hadn't provided the necessary measures.
Right. Oh, okay. So then again, if anytime the committee decides or any other state agency decides that they need your services and your protection to go to that place, you are ever ready to give them the needed assistance?
Yeah, we'll do so.
All right. Thank you very much. There are other issues we'd like to engage you on, but since you want us to stick to this, we are grateful that you made time to speak to us, Naval Captain Michael Labi. Thank you for your time. So clearly it is just in reaction to the earlier submission by Sam George that the military did not or were not available to provide the needed assistance. He says it is not true. They were ready. Assessment had been done. Men had been delegated to give the necessary protection. But unfortunately, due to the security intelligence they had picked up, the committee did not go. So then they did not need the army to also go with them. But it's a very fluid situation, especially when it comes to Bawku. We'll definitely be updating you on it when we do get further information on that. This is still Midday Live on TV3. Away from Bawku now, for the first time in many, many years, the incumbent Member of Parliament for Asawase, Muntaka Mohamed Mubarak, will be contested by one Masawood Mubarak for the NDC parliamentary candidature of the constituency. With a charged atmosphere, both aspirants stormed the vetting center with hundreds of supporters. On your screens now are images we got from the NDC party office in the Ashanti region. And it looks as though it's a lot more of excitement and anticipation. Vetting, we are told, is ending around the country. Today is the last day of vetting. Let's find out what's happening in the Ashanti region regarding the entire activity of the NDCs plus the last day of vetting. Ibrahim Abubakar has joined us via Zoom for a quick update. Ibrahim, good afternoon to you. Talk to us how the final leg of the vetting is going in the Ashanti region.
Since morning, the atmosphere here has been charged. In fact, yesterday and 2 days ago, when the vetting started, we didn't see such atmosphere. You can even pass by without even realizing something is going on. But today, because all the 4 constituencies that has NDC as Member of Parliament in Ashanti region are coming here. Talk about Asawase, the Ejura constituency, Secretary Afram Plains, and also New Edibiase. That's how come we've seen a lot of supporters also following their aspirant come here. Just some few minutes ago, Asawase was done with his vetting, and you could see the excitement on both sides. In fact, today the police has even been intensified, seeing large number of police personnel here, because when it comes to Asawase and Ejura, anything is possible. But lo and behold, the vetting has been done successfully. The Masawudu is even excited more because last 4 years he attempted contesting the incumbent Member of Parliament, who is Muntaka Mubarak, but he was not even successful. He couldn't go through the vetting process successfully. This time round, he has managed to go through. So the battle line, like you earlier said, has been drawn, and everybody is cheering up. Currently, it is the turn of Ejura constituency. Earlier, we engaged with the incumbent Member of Parliament for Asawase, Muntaka Mubarak, on what he makes with the number of people who followed him here and also going forward. What's next for him? It's all about the 2024 election and how they will be united after these primaries.
I will only thank Allah for all what He has done for me. I want to thank God and thank every one of them for coming out massively to accompany me here. What I would advise them to do is that we have a lot of work to do. It is not just about primaries. We have 2024 elections to win, and all of us must be thinking about that. In everything that we do, we should have at the back of our mind that it is about the 2024 election. And I know by the grace of God, we shall overcome just as we've overcome all the elections that came our way.
This will be a done deal for you.
Well, I mean, yes, they say elections are never over and it's over. But I can assure you that we are working very hard to make sure that this is just a minor challenge about primaries. The main is the 2024 election. We must retain Asawase in a very decisive way, and then make sure that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama also win in a very massive way, by the grace of God.
All right, so yes, Ibrahim, we heard that interaction you had with the current Member of Parliament, Mohamed Muntaka Mubarak. So he's given an assurance. He seems upbeat and optimistic about it. But what are the chances for him and for Masawood? How do you see this playing out?
Well, for him, he also has some high level of confidence when it comes to winning it, because he believes that this is his second coming, and a lot more of the youth usually follow him. Those who followed him here were mostly the youth, and he's saying that this is a signal that it is time for Asawase to also change hands. And he also has some high level of confidence. Let's listen to what he has been telling me.
Like you had said, I'll focus on my campaign. I would make sure that the delegates and the people of Asawase understand the alternative vision I have for the people of the constituents. And inshallah, my hope is that I would emerge victorious so that I am able to implement the good policies that I have for the people. Yes, I believe that democracy has triumphed today. What happened previously was undemocratic. Today, I have been able to have an incidents-free vetting. I would only say that Alhamdulillah, and I thank the leadership of the party for understanding that Asawase needs elections, and it's only elections that is going to guarantee the development. It's very high, very high. If you look at what is happening within the constituency, we are pained that there hasn't been much progress in terms of the human development element of development within the constituency. In terms of even infrastructure, the projects have been misdirected at solving the problems of the constituency. And overall also, when it comes to being accountable to the people of Ghana and to the party NDC too, that we also believe Asawase, the current MP, has performed woefully in terms of working in the interest of Ghanaians, protecting the public purse at Parliament. So overall, we are very, very much enthusiastic about our chances, and we believe that inshallah victory is assured.
All right, so that's the main contender for, at least he is going to be contesting against Mohamed Muntaka Mubarak in the Asawase constituency. So in wrapping up this conversation, what are the other major developments regarding the last day of vetting in the Ashanti region, Ibrahim?
Well, Martin, like I said, so far it's been free, and that is the hope of the regional party executives, that it will end peacefully. But currently, Nigeria, like I said, is taking its step. And this is going to be very interesting because we have the constituency chairman of the party contesting with the incumbent member of parliament and 3 others. And we know Nigeria is just like Asawase, and the volatility and other things. So I'm sure that's how come the spirit has also been tightened. But so far, because no one has been disqualified, it's been very peaceful here, and that is the hope that it continues like that.
All right, thank you very much for that quick update from the Ashanti region. Ibrahim Abubakar, Ashanti regional correspondent. A lot is happening specifically within the Asawase constituency, which is one of the strongholds of the NDC, in the largest stronghold of the MPP, which is the Ashanti region. We'll definitely be updating you subsequently on how all of that plays out, the internal politicking ahead of the bigger one. And we also know that not just the Ashanti region, but other parts of the country are having the last day of vetting. Here in the Greater Accra region as well. In subsequent bulletins, we'll be letting you know how all of that is wrapping up. The key part or the key interest that we are keeping an eye on is the Ayawaso West Wuogon constituency, where you have actor John Dumelo going against Fred, one of his good friends. So it's going to be also very competitive. Would give you updates on that. Staying on politics this time around, still on politics, but this time around to the MPP and specifically to Preston Akufo-Addo, who has urged new ministers to ensure that they maintain the highest standards of integrity as they execute their mandate. The president made the call when he swore in the newly appointed ministers and deputy ministers at the Jubilee House yesterday.
Kobina Tahiru Hammond, popularly known as KT Hammond, Minister for Trade and Industry, Brian Champong, Minister for Food and Agriculture, Stephen Asamoah Boateng, Minister for Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, Mohammed Amin Adam, Minister of State at the Ministry of Finance, Obi Amwa, Minister of State at the Ministry of Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development, and Stephen Amwa, Deputy Minister for Trade and Industry. President Akufo-Addo charged them to work with integrity. The 6 ministers were approved by Parliament on March 24.
All right, so that was after the approval from Parliament last week, which became also a very controversial subject. Now they've been sworn in, and President Akufo-Addo has charged the newly sworn-in members of his ministry, of his ministerial appointments, to do well to give the government a good name and deliver to the people. Meanwhile, the president has also charged 2 newly appointed justices of the Supreme Court to also uphold the tenets of the profession and ensure that as they are going into the profession, their mandate is to strengthen the development of the country's constitutional and other jurisprudence. This was the address that the president gave the 2 newly sworn-in judges at the Jubilee House yesterday.
The justices are George Kingsley Kumson and Justice Ernest Yao-Geu. President Akufo-Addo charged the justices of the Supreme Court to be mindful of their responsibilities and execute their mandate to ensure effective development of the country.
It is extremely important for you to bear in mind that the growth of our nation demands that we have a judiciary that commands the respect of the people by the quality of its delivery of justice, as well as by the comportment of its judges. Applications of the laws of the land must occur in the words of the judicial oath, without fear or favor, affection or ill will.
Justice George Kingsley Kumson pledged they will continue to serve in dignity, respect and in honesty.
We are committed to serving with professionalism and impartiality. We recognize the enormous nature of the work and the responsibilities that comes with the position. We, however, promise to give decisions that are just, fair, and in accordance with the law.
The 2 justices' approval had been delayed by Parliament, but were subsequently approved on Friday, March 24, after a secret ballot in Parliament.
All right, so let's take a quick step back to our earlier story having to do with the fact that vetting is wrapping up across the country. Here in the Greater Accra region, the key constituency we are keeping close eye on is the Ayawaso West Wuogon constituency. Christian Yali is my colleague who has been following all the vetting right from when it started up until now. He's there, he's joined us via Zoom. Christian, good afternoon, thank you for joining us. Give us what's happening at the moment.
All right, so as you rightly said, it is the final day of vetting of parliamentary aspirants here at the Greater Accra region. Today we've had about 2 constituencies that have undergone the vetting so far, including the Lejokuku constituency and Teshi constituency. There have been delays actually because of few misunderstandings and a few issues that have come up during the process. Again, the major look ahead for many people, or the main constituency that we are focusing on, has been the Ayawaso West Wuogon constituency. The vetting was to take place on Monday. It was postponed to Tuesday, that was yesterday, and it was postponed again. I've just been engaging members on the vetting committee who say the vetting, is not taking place again today because they are yet to get an approval from the National Party. What it means is that until the party takes a decision on when the vetting takes place for John Dumelo, Fred Nuyaman, and Moses Befi Achampo, the Ayawaso West Wuogon constituency is going to be placed on hold until a final decision is taken. This is something that many supporters of the party are raising concerns because they think it is only creating tension, because the vetting committee is unwilling or not ready to give the exact reasons as to why this vetting has been put on hold. But today we are expecting about 10 constituencies to be vetted. If by the close of the day, the vetting committee gets the approval to go ahead with the vetting of the Ayawaso West constituency, it means that would get the 11 constituencies. Mind you that we have 3 other constituencies that have been put on hold, including Amasaman and two other constituencies that are already on hold for what the party says.
Zoom for a quick update. I mean,